What's up, YouTube? It's James Q Quick from Learn, Build, Teach. And today I'm back with another resume review. And I got this request. I apologize. I'm probably going to butcher your name, so I apologize in advance. I'm going to go with Nerfaze Fote. Got this request from, hopefully it's pronounced Nerfaze. And without going into too many details, basically said he'd applied for some jobs, didn't have any luck, and is just looking to get some feedback on his resume so that he can put himself in the best position going forward for jobs. So got his resume up here. I'm not going to show the first page because it's got contact information, but he does have a first page which just has name and maybe email and phone number. I would go ahead and put that into the main page of your resume. General rule is you want to just have one page. So for the most part, you've got that by just this one page that we're showing here. But then you have that other additional page and some small things to think about. One, you can see it's got a little bit of color as the background. If people go to print your resume, they definitely don't want to print an entire page of color. And then they don't want to print 2 pages if they don't have to. So I think you could easily include that information on this, the main part of your resume that we're looking at now, and then get rid of that first page. That'll make it really quick and easy for people to just print it off. They've got one sheet. There's no color, or at least very small color in the cases where you add some color. And then they could just look at that there. So that's my first piece of my first recommendation. I like that you have, you've got a skills section, which I'm a big fan of. I think this is really important for resumes in general, because I say this every time. People that look at resumes spend 5 seconds or 10 seconds maybe. It's a very small amount of time, and you really want to make the most important things jump out at the person who's looking at your resume. So I like that you have the skills section here. I would, so I see a lot of design stuff. So you've got like UX type stuff, user research, storyboarding, user-centered design, wireframing, Sketch and InVision, Adobe Suites, design prints, UI, UX. Just kind of sticking there. I see UI, UX. Now, the question I would ask you, and actually what you have up here, is product and UI, UX designer. Is that what you're going for? Is that the type of job that you're looking for? If so, one, I'm not quite as qualified to give feedback, but I'll do the best I can. And then if it's not, if you're actually looking for a development job, then I think you'd really have some changes to make to structure your resume around development and not UI UX. UI UX is definitely a plus to have, especially in front end development. Having that experience is definitely going to give you a leg up on someone else who doesn't have that experience. But if you are applying for a developer job, I think you need to focus more than what you are now on the development aspects of it. If you're applying for UI UX designer type roles, then I think you're in a good spot. So you've got on these down here, you've got HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Bootstrap, and Foundation, which are 2 front-end CSS libraries or frameworks, whatever you want to call them. Project management with Agile and Scrum. It's kind of weird. I definitely think you should have that on your resume as keywords, but I've never understood why having experience in Agile makes that much of a difference, because it's pretty simple to follow. You basically go 2 weeks at a time and write stories and then complete your work. So I've never really understood why you would look down upon someone who doesn't have that experience, but you do, so that's good, and you've got it on there. You've got your education at the top. I might switch the order of this. Your education, I imagine, is not quite as important at this point as your actual skills to me. So I might flip these and put skills first just to really make them jump out. You could also do, especially for my awareness too, you could do one of those like 1 or 2 liner, 1 or 2 sentence descriptions of who you are and what you're looking for. I'm a product and UI UX designer looking for an opportunity to build great products, or something like that. So you could have that little 1-liner just to give a little bit about who you are, what you're looking for. I think that'd be a nice touch. You might clean up the skills a little bit, focus on the ones that are most important, and then maybe shrink them down a little bit. So front-end development with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, those are a little redundant. So I would say you can choose HTML, CSS, and JavaScript for me. And maybe some of the design ones as well. So like Sketch, InVision, Adobe Suites. You could say Sketch, InVision, and Adobe Suites. I think those are probably close enough to go together. Storyboarding and wireframing, just to kind of shorten that section up a little bit. I don't think you have to, but I think you could. One thing that I'm not really sure about, this activism and recognitions. I'm not sure what activisms in here is actually referring to. Recognition looks like you were an instructor, again, on visual design with Sketch, so more on the design side, so that's cool. Accelerating career on a panel, facilitator, and presenter. So you got some cool things in here. I'm not exactly sure what activism means there. Recognition would probably suffice for me. I don't know how else I would phrase that. I'm just not exactly sure, like I said, what activism means there. So here's one of the things that jumps out on the experience. Well, there's two things. One, and this is an issue I have with lots of people's resumes, where in the descriptions here, we mix writing we mix bullet points, which are not required to be full correct sentences. We mix those bullet points with actually writing basically bullet points in a paragraph form, and that's what this is. So participated in weekly inspection sessions, blah, blah, blah. This is not a full sentence, and part of this is just kind of drilled into me from the English and grammar classes that I took through high school and college. This is not a full sentence. So this would need to be like, I participated in weekly sessions as part of the express routine. I assisted, inspected, and managed technicians repair work across the expressway. So I would do one of two things. Either make these full sentences, or you make them bullet points and leave what you have, and these just become bullet points, basically. Again, a lot of people do this. They mix putting like phrases as full sentences and then put it in a paragraph form. That really bothers me. So I would either go full sentences in paragraph form, or bullet points with just phrases like you have now. So that's going to go for all of these, I think. Another thing you could do in here that I think is really important. So you've got your keywords over here, your skills, the kind of those buzzwords that you'll need. I would then throw those in where applicable to your job experience and then bold them. So for me, like, anyone can put a list of skills on the side. You could put a list of anything over here. I want to know where and when and how you actually use those things in your experience. I want to see how and where they got applied. So I would tie in these keywords into these experience descriptions and then bold them to make sure that they really reinforce, this is where I use this certain skill. Overall, I think the format of your resume looks good. I think it's pretty clean. So this is a 50-50 split of kind of this side versus this side. I usually think of experience having a little bit more width. So I might kind of shift the width of this to have experience be a little bit more. I think that would work fairly well. And then I might flip this to be the skills and education and stuff on the right instead of the left. Not super important, but I guess the more traditional thing, you'll see kind of experience first, and then the supplementary things on the right. Either way, I think would be okay. But I would give a little more space to experience for these longer descriptions, because they get a little harder to read, right? When you've got multiple lines on here that could be just a little bit more spread out. So overall, I think resume looks pretty good. Again, it's clean. It's a simple design. I would try to emphasize, one, we talked about the description of here that you could add of just one or two sentences of what you do, who you are, what you're looking for. Two, you can clean these up a little bit to have maybe a little less. Three, your descriptions in here need to either be full sentences or bullet points, not a combination of a paragraph of phrases or a bullet points of sentences, but either full sentences or bullet points. And then take these skills and inject them into your descriptions and bold them to really reinforce the things that you've got over here. Also, again, I'm not really sure how activism here is being used in this scenario, so it might just be me. I don't know. So you also sent your portfolio, which I think is really nice and it's really clean. And this actually gives one of those kind of one-liners of who you are and what you do. So a digital product designer who loves creating impactful brands and product experiences. That's really cool. I think that's a great tagline to have. I think this would be a great tagline to include on your resume as well. I think that'd make a good kind of right at the top, really quick, really concise who you are and what you're looking for. And that tells me that you're not looking for a development position. You are more on the UI UX side. From a design perspective, this page is really, really clean. I think you've got some really cool examples on here. I'm assuming these are all, let's click on one. I'm assuming these are all design oriented and not like actually building this out. But this is really cool. You've got some great detail on here about what this challenge was, the overview, some diagrams. This is really, really detailed. That's super cool. I think you have to link to these. In your resume, you've got to be able to link to, here's the stuff that you want to see, because people want to see some tangible examples of the things you've done. Make these hyperlinks. This is a PDF, so you can make these hyperlinks to those products if they line up that way. I'm not really sure. And then link to this page and just show, like, give them something real quick that they can go and say, wow, he actually did some really good work here. And again, these all have really good documentation, for lack of a better word, of the things that you did on, and it drives traffic to your website. And I think you really have to drive home this here, because that's the story you want to tell for yourself, I think. Dribbble is also a big one. So curious what your Dribbble looks like, especially in the design community. You've got some really cool stuff on here. Here's that one. Some games, blackjack. That's really cool. You've got some great stuff on here. That's the kind of stuff that you have to stress and somehow incorporate more into your resume. Maybe in a cover letter, you can say, just kind of reference this page that they can go to see all of your work. I would hyperlink it on your resume if you can. I would include, and I don't know, let me see if I can figure this out real quick. Do these directly line up with things that are on your experience? Yeah, so this one does directly. So like this case study, you could hyperlink in this part. This way, if people see links, they're probably going to click them, to be honest. And if they could come in and see, wow, that's so much work. That's the kind of thing you want to show. I think you've got a lot of stuff that you got to share, and maybe you're just not doing a good enough job of highlighting it for yourself. You've also got articles on here. Let me see what on Medium. So that's a really cool thing to have as well. These are like supplementary skills, right? You're a UX UI guy. You build products, but you've got the ability to write, and that's not something that everybody can do. You've got the ability to design. Show that off. I'm not sure why this Medium link is not loading, but if you can write, that's something that you can share as well. I'm curious what you've got. You got a picture of you speaking. Again, that's something that I think is really impactful for you to be comfortable getting up in front of a crowd. That's something that I really pride myself on, is being able to be I'm a developer. But because of my ability to step up and communicate and voice my opinions and speak in front of people, I think it gives me a leg up, because that means I can do so many more things than someone who's not comfortable with that. So this is another one. I think you've got it in your resume as well. Let's look on speaking, presenter, and won first place. You got that really badass picture of you up there. That's really cool. So overall, looking at now your portfolio and your website, you've got more stuff I think that you can emphasize. Do the hyperlinks. Make sure people have a quick and easy way to get to this page. Let them see that awesome amount of work that you have behind the scenes, and don't let them go through your resume without getting to that. And you're a designer, and with your design background, maybe there's ways you can make this a little bit more exciting. From a technical perspective, like applying for a technical position, a developer position, I think this is great. You're applying for a design position. I'm not a designer myself, but I think you got to make this a little bit more exciting. You got to make it pop a little bit. And I'll leave that up to you, because obviously you've got a ton more experience there than I do. But make this engaging, draw their attention to the things that are super important. And the biggest thing that's important to me, Dribbble is huge, and your website is huge, and they can go in and see all of these different things. I think you have to really drive that message home. So that's really all I have for you. Again, I'm not a designer, so I'll let you take care of the design part. But just from a hiring perspective, those are some of the things that I would look for. Those are some tips to hopefully out of a pile of 100 resumes, make yours stick out a bit more. Hopefully that helped. Best of luck in your job search. Hopefully this helped other people who may be looking down that path as well. Anyway, so that's going to wrap up this resume review, and I will see you in the next one. Hey guys, if you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. You can also check out learnbuildteach.com to sign up for the newsletter to learn about my latest content. Thanks for watching.